With a role in Solo, a Star Wars story out in cinemas now, it's time we take a closer look at the career of British beauty Emilia Clarke. In 2010, a new TV series had a problem. Their pilot was a disaster and they needed to recast a major character. The show was Game of Thrones, and the role of Daenerys Targaryen went to British actress Emilia Clarke, who was soon a fan favourite in the epic fantasy tale.
I was growing up on Lord of the Rings, so I was read that as a child, and lots of other kind of fantastical, imaginative stories. So I was brought up on stories, and as an actor, that's what I love.
Born in London, Emilia grew up around the theatre, where her father was a sound engineer. She dreamed of a career in performing from a young age, and now at last, acting was her life.
The biggest part, the most enormous part in my life is pretty much unrecognisable to what it was before this. So yeah, it's probably, I can safely say, the biggest thing going on in my life at the moment.
In the final episode of the first season, Clarke really came into her own, with a scene that the writers of the show, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, were afraid might doom them all.
Emilia's performance, which is dead center in the middle of all of it, and is really was probably the single most frightening element in terms of performance for us, in terms of the whole season. We knew it was going to be the end of the season. We knew that if that moment didn't feel transcendent and real, that the whole finale would fall flat, and she more than pulled it off.
Though she quickly became one of the highest paid actresses on television, Emilia wanted to continue to broaden her range. So she played Jude Law's daughter in the 2013 crime comedy Dom Hemingway.
The part of Evie was to sort of get to play someone who is so incredibly kind of angry, but resilient, but still kind of capable of love for Dom. And getting to be Dom's daughter was just kind of a challenge that I wanted to grab with both hands.
She then called another big star pops in 2015's Terminator Genisys.
I got to play Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter, which is hilarious and brilliant, and that kind of relationship, that banter, just sort of found its way into the off-screen stuff. And he's just so charming and funny and sweet, and there was so much ease that went along with it that made me feel very comfortable in a role that could have been incredibly daunting.
The following year, Clarke tackled the romantic drama Me Before You, adapted from the popular novel of the same name. Luckily, she wasn't worried about what fans of the book might think.
I've kind of made a point of it in my career, doing that, you know? So we've got Game of Thrones, which is really epic. And then I did a Brexit Tiffany's on Broadway, and then I did Sarah Connor in Terminator, so I've done it a few times. And weirdly with this was the first time that I read the book first, knowing that I was hopefully going to play the role, and I was reading it thinking, I don't feel that pressure because I know exactly who this girl is.
And 2018 found her trading her dragons in for Wookiees as she took a trip to a galaxy far, far away in Solo, a Star Wars story, on which we'll see more about later. On set, the cast became a tightly knit group.
We're all really close. There's not an ego amongst us, really. I mean, Chewie, but we'll get into that. And so we all get on really well. We're all kind of we had this really fun dinner last night, and we just all get on. There's no one there who thinks that they're trying to get centre stage. So we just have a giggle instead.
With Game of Thrones wrapping up after its 8th season, fans are naturally wondering what's next for the beautiful and talented Emilia Clarke.
The next step begins with me not setting an alarm and having an actual sleep for the first time in a decade. So I'm looking forward to that.
Like what you see? Subscribe to our channel for more exclusive videos.